Folks, this right here is the perfect Europe. It has everything that you could possibly ask for. It has a couple of rebellions, it has Brittany, it has a British Greece and a French Albania, which ultimately solves the Balkan crisis. It has Rome and one Sicily, I guess, and most importantly, it has Baden-Württemberg far away from Germany and instead inside of Austria. And not to mention that it also actually has an American Hamburg, which I don't even think I need to make the joke right here. What you can see in front of you right here is a disaster save that was sent to me in 1897, and this disaster save is a little bit different from the normal disaster saves that we have on this channel. Now, as always, do remember that if you have a disaster save and something went wrong and you just can't fix it, definitely send it to me in the email address that you see in the description and I will take a look at it. Right here, this is a bit different because, well, economically and standard of living wise, we are doing absolutely great. Our issue is more of a diplomatic, a geopolitical one. That is, of course, the fact that very obviously Austria-Hungary won the Brothers' War against Prussia, then annexed Baden and Württemberg and asked us to also be annexed, and the player obviously said no, and now we're in a mess where, well, Austria wants to completely destroy us. On top of that, we are just a major power because we are in the market of Prussia, which means that we're kind of trapped. We have nowhere to go, we don't know what to do, and we need to go forward. I think it is fairly easy to see that the player here clearly knows what they were doing. We have a decent GDP, we have good literacy and a great standard of living, and not just that, we also have a really good loyalist situation, and nonetheless, there are certain things, both in the economy and the politics, we're gonna get to that of course in due time, that are troublesome, but more importantly, there doesn't really seem to be a way forward. Being stuck in the Prussian market, making it so that Austria is the dominating force in Germany, and leaving us very little room to breathe. In fact, the Bavarian Rhineland is still cut off. That is not a situation that you ever want to see, but obviously, all of this can be solved. Now, I will tell you right now that playing Bavaria is harder than ever in this patch due to some changes to the South German Federation entry and, of course, the unification play in itself, but that doesn't mean that we have to be stuck in the situation that we are in. Let's take a look at the actual situation, and then let's try to move forward here. Now, politically speaking, we can see the effect of the massive radicals right here. Everybody loves us, everybody is giving us their bonuses, and on top of that, we are basically already communist. Well, not quite. This is a feminist, this is a communist, and then we have this protectionist, yep, okay. We got some market liberals, and of course we have some jingoists. Nothing too confusing here, these are fairly box standard ideologies for this part of the game. Also, we are in a situation where with Presidential Republic and Universal Suffrage, most of the time the worker IGs will dominate. If everybody is wealthy and if everybody can vote, then, well, yeah, we just have more trade unionists. So, that is a good start. Then cultural exclusion and freedom of conscience makes it so that we can also receive plenty of migration. These are all in all good laws. The mass conscription, of course, also quite decent. And then down here, we are now passing colonial affairs. I believe this is colonial exploitation, if I'm not wrong. And this is kind of weird, but I can sort of see the sense in this. At least I think I can see it. Obviously, we don't have a port. We can't actually colonially exploit anything. And at this point, Africa is basically already taken. We got the US and Britain now fighting for the Herero and Nama. So that won't really be that interesting for us. But what this does is it makes it so that the industrialists will love us, which then in turn makes it so that we may be able to go communist and the industrialists won't rise up. Whether that is actually the case, I'm not so certain, but hey, it's not that bad of an approach. I'm going to leave this right here, we're not going to interrupt this. Whether we actually go communist, I will leave up in the air for now. Every other law right here makes a lot of sense, private health insurance in particular as well. We have good worker protections, which of course explains that everybody is in a position of incredible wealth, and we have women's suffrage. The only negative here is that women's suffrage, and then of course the bonus of the Communist Party, the actual trade unions here combined, means that yeah, we're going to have an absolutely insane workforce ratio. That also means we need to build, or we're going to start eating the unemployed. But that is something that we can only keep in the back of our heads because, hey, directly this is at the very least not very important. This save game is unique not only because of this right here, but also because of the fact that this isn't actually a failed state in your society. Bavaria is doing great. We have President Albrecht Schmidt in control, and he's working it out. He is in a pretty good spot. But the real issue stems from the fact that diplomatically we are in a corner. We have been backed in completely. Yes, we have Schwarzburg as a dominion, but honestly, why do we even bother with this as a dominion? That's ridiculous. Other than that, we only have defensive pacts. We are a minor partner in a customs union. And it just doesn't seem that great, because if we leave right here, not only does the Rhineland get cut off, this is what the person that sent this to me was very concerned about, but let me just tell you, you shouldn't be that concerned about 11% of your GDP. Rather, if we leave the Rhineland right now, there are several resources that we would literally not have any access to. For example, and this is the most notorious case right here in southern Germany, sulfur. Every piece of sulfur is up here. And of course, we don't have a port to trade with anybody. We can't even trade with the French because we don't have any access. We can't really trade with Austria-Hungary. Well, yeah, because of this right here, so we are backed in a corner. Leaving the Prussian market, which ultimately might be the end goal, at least short term, is an absolute suicide mission. We don't have sulfur, we don't have oil, we don't have rubber. And that is a big, big issue, because obviously that is what the economy needs. Sulfur is needed by basically everything at this point, right? We are so advanced, and then oil and rubber are needed at the very least for our advanced production sites, like for example houseware plastics, but more importantly for warfare. And warfare is something that we need to excel at. Because hey, listen, we might be tiny, 13.3 million people against 70 million, but our actual technological progress is insane. We are clearly so far ahead that our quality can beat their quantity if we really try. And honestly, scrap all of this. Nobody needs this. We're making good money, we have enough troops, that's not the issue. The issue is that we have too many opponents, and there is a pretty straightforward solution. But to actually apply this production method, you can see it right here, we will need oil. So that is on the very, very top of our agenda. If we want to kick out Austria-Hungary here in the south of Germany, if we want to defeat them and completely declaw them, then we need that oil. When we take a look at European oil provinces right here, obviously we have the stuff in Hungary, we have the stuff in Ukraine, and we have the stuff right here in Romania, but this right here is what we actually care for. We care for Hanover, because we can reach Hanover. Now you might say, hey, you don't actually border them, and that is correct, but Prussia does. And we are, as it stands, in Prussia's market. So the immediate step, if we need that oil so that we can then turn around and completely conquer Austria-Hungary, is of course to conquer pieces of Hanover. So before we even do anything else, yeah, we are literally going to start this off with a war declaration. And here is why I am so confident that this is going to work out. Our biggest threats when it comes to intervention live in Prussia, live in Austria-Hungary, because Austria-Hungary surrounds us, and that is essentially it. Russia might come in, although I highly doubt it, but even if they come in, their troops will be so bad, and they can at most meet us here in Hanover. Honestly, I am not too worried. I don't think they're interested in us, and I don't think they're interested enough in Hanover. Then right here we have Great Britain, and Great Britain is, yeah, plenty busy right there. France, we don't even need to mention, and I mean, that's basically it. Hanover doesn't really have a protector. So with that being said, we're going to claim whatever has more oil. This is 15, this is 21. You might say, hey, grab this one because it has a port, and I'd say to you, I don't care about the port. We are in the Prussian market for better or for worse, and that is where we are going to stay for the time being. I shall claim right away Elbe, and I think I'm actually going to immediately push this even further. Actually, you know what? No. We are going to not push this further. Instead, I will simply mobilize. If this actually goes further than just the Diplo play, I might violate sovereignty Hesse-Kassel, but I'll be honest with you, there's a good chance that they will just back down. I will bring this chance up, but yeah, I'm not really afraid here. Oh, Oldenburg and Bremen immediately abandoned them, and what do we have now? We can invite somebody. Everybody else here is neutral, as I said. It's pretty guaranteed. Oh, Hesse-Kassel. That is perfect. So we can actually create a front just in case that they don't back down, which means I will invite Hesse-Kassel, and then we're gonna add some war goals. I need that oil. Now, what is very important to note here is that, of course, accruing infamy will bring down our actual relationship with Prussia. Since we are in their market, since we have a defensive pact, we already get a significant boost, but hey, never forget to put up the improving relations as well, because if we are kicked out of the customs union, well, automatically, I believe it is when you're at minus 20 opinion, you just drop out automatically, then we will die. And I have no interest in dying. Alright, and now it is time to invite our greatest ally, Hesse-Kassel. I will offer you an obligation. I told you when it comes to the AI, they are very, very transparent. You get when it comes to, hey, do you want to join me or do you want to join them? You get the relative score. You get neutrality, and then that is subtracted based on how much they prefer you. This is why we get a minus 14. That is 128 minus 114, so 14 are left, and that is against us because they are more neutral than they want to help us, which is also, by the way, army. Very cool, very legal. Anyway, yeah, we are in a beneficial position here, but they don't really want to join us, so they just want an obligation because they kind of like us. It's a very limited AI logic, but it's enough for us to get an ally that allows us a front line and, well, it guarantees the end of Hanover no matter what happens. Yeah, and look at that. All of a sudden, other powers are also interested in joining us, but obviously, I am not actually interested in them. Listen, I can beat Hanover. This is not a big deal. Nothing too much is happening right here. We will... Oh, they want to conquer Hesse-Kassel. That's completely fine. What we're going to be doing here is I will claim... And now this is the bigger question. I could claim Hanover. I will not claim Hanover itself. I will only try to make them a dominion. First of all, it is cheaper than if we went on to conquer this state, which is good. That's a good thing, right? And on top of that, it would also mean that we don't miss out on Brunswick. As long as Hanover as a whole, as a corridor opens up here, we then just need Hesse-Kassel and we could literally leave the Prussian market and be connected. Not just connected, but connected to a port. So that is very important. How we get Hesse-Kassel, I'm not sure yet, but I don't think it matters too much. I will subjugate Hanover, and I will actually make this into a primary goal, and then you know what, we're going to do some secondary things. I will say, for example, let's say I want war reparations from both of you, making it so that hopefully you just back down. That's the goal, right? And while we're doing this war, let me just tell you why the South German Federation is so much harder than it was in previous patches. They removed the events where if you have a minor in your customs union and you are either South German and so are they, or you're North German and so are they, then they would just join you. There would just be an event that says, hey, Baden applies to join your confederation. You say yes and everything is dandy. That is no longer the case. The only way to form the SGF in Vanilla Victoria 3 right now as Bavaria is to do this journal entry, and it is genuinely disgusting. You need to be a unification candidate for Germany, and you need to be the only one, which means to get this territory, you have to conquer it. There's no other way of getting it. I'm sorry to tell you this, but that is the way it is. Which in this case doesn't make a difference because, well, just look at this. But it does mean that if we want to form the SGF, first of all, listen, if you're a player and if you play Bavaria, never support the candidate. It's very unlikely that they could ever unify Germany because they would need Prussia, but you get annexed if they click that button, okay? Don't do it. Anyway, we need to kick out Austria-Hungary. That's the only way. It's super tedious, and I hate the change that they have done here to Germany, but you gotta live with it, so let's see what we can do about that. And damn, they did not give in, which just means I'm gonna get war reparations, the Dutch are gonna give up, everybody's gonna be angry, and we're gonna come out as the winner. Obviously, we are stronger, and obviously this is gonna be pretty straightforward. The biggest fear, of course, again, that I have is being kicked out of the Prussian market. Oh, Jesus. You know what? I haven't even looked at the markets. You get Austria. I hate when China does this. China should never, ever do this. Can you imagine being the emperor of China and being subservient in somebody else's customs union? That is insane. But be that as it may, we never want to get kicked out with Prussia, and as long as that is the case, I don't really care about anything else. What the hell? They just capitulated? We weren't even reaching them. Alright, thanks for the free money, I guess. And now it's time for, yeah, Hanover to give us what we deserve. And this now makes this into a beautiful, beautiful situation. First of all, Hanover has gotten the flag as though Prussia made it into its vassal because it's technically in the Prussian market, but you know what, I want to just ignore this. Here's the important part. Elbe now belongs to us, and Elbe is a great state. First of all, let's assure, yep, there are still some unemployed people. And secondly, let's take control of these oil fields. I will build them up to the maximum. I will immediately put in the much, much better production method, and we will produce oil. Again, we need it desperately if we want to absolutely destroy Austria-Hungary in the war to come. And that is the main goal right here. Oh, and I guess colonial exploitation passed. Peter Göring. I don't love that name. Okay. That has passed now. Now let me ask you. Do we want to attempt a further reform right here? Industrialists and landowners obviously against it, but you can see right here again, it doesn't upset them enough. They would still actually be positive. And even here, quite positive indeed, except the petite bourgeoisie would also be against it. We could theoretically try this, and nobody even would be willing to rebel. So maybe we want to do this one, just a full step, and then taxation comes after that. We could do homesteading, but that's not really that important because it only just completely kills the landowners and they're already dead. You know what? I think we're gonna go fairly far ahead here. I think we might want to turn this into a council republic right here. We are going to see a lot of opposition, but I think they're going to be happy enough. I'm going to try it at the very least. We're going to see how far we can come, and we'll go from there. Oh, and while we were just relaxing, building up the oil, because again, we're planning for the long-term war, of course, there's a couple of rebellions. We have a rebellion right here in Hanover, and much more importantly, we have a rebellion right here. We're going to declare neutrality, because at most we could aid somebody here. We wouldn't get anything from it. Can I still declare my own war? Oh my god, I can. This is a huge opportunity. Now, this does come along fairly frequently in vanilla because everybody just gets late-game revolutions, and these late-game revolutions then most of the time go bankrupt. But hey, in our case, that very specifically means I can claim some land. Now, I gotta be very cautious about this, because what we need to remain is at least plus 20, at least cordial with Prussia right here. And them starting to hate us would be the exact opposite of our goals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bankrolling them solely because that should drive us up even further in our opinion and rather make it faster, and that is exactly what we need. Because if we are going to move against Austria, we're going to be eating a whole lot of infamy. Now, when it comes to infamy, what you need to understand, yes, it matters. Yes, the infamy makes people more negative against you, but right now, none of that actually matters. Please do consider our actual situation right now, right? We were looking at a situation where everybody liked us, Russia, and so on, but hey, what's going to happen if they dislike us? They can't invade us. France can't really do anything. They just very recently went bankrupt anyway. Russia still likes us. That is the deciding factor, as I said, and yeah, that's about it. Everybody else doesn't really impact us. So, as long as we don't get kicked out from the customs union with Prussia, we are golden. So, let's be very cautious about this, but let's go for what we need. I think the initial thing is definitely going to be Baden. I want Baden so that we have a connection to the Rhineland, and more importantly, so that we have a connection to France itself, because then we can trade with them should we ever go independent. Now the other thing is, I could theoretically release a couple of things right here. I could also theoretically conquer Württemberg directly. And I gotta tell you, that's gonna put us up to, what, 88 or something? What I'm gonna do here is, I'm gonna declare another rival. Can I declare a quick rival somewhere? Somebody that we haven't declared a rival yet? You can see I've been busy declaring rivals, okay? I want more rivals, solely because this will make it so that the infamy decay is then faster and will allow us to do a bit more aggression. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave it with the Wogels as is right now until the very end, until I can, just one day before I can't add them anymore, because hopefully my infamy decays quite a bit more. Hopefully Prussia will like us a bit more at that point, and then I can add Württemberg directly. At least that would be the goal. So let's take a look at what we can do here. Now listen, I do want to bring something up. When going to war with rebellions or countries that have rebellions, be aware it's going to be a huge pain in your behind. Unless you literally trigger your play when they trigger theirs and have a fairly easy way of reaching their capital, don't do it. Because once the rebellion wins against the non-rebellion, your front lines are going to be reset to the state that they were in before the war started, which means, well, to your country borders. It's annoying, it sucks. Be aware of it, be afraid of it, but if you can declare war at basically the same time, 100% do it, because it is going to be an absolute banger. We will be able to march in and to completely dismantle them without ever really facing the Austrian army, because the Austrian army is fighting over here. Now, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at this, right? Where is it? I want Baden or Württemberg. Which one didn't I demand yet? Württemberg. If I were to ask for this war goal, we get 26 infamy. Reducing the relations with 13 countries, Prussia by 13. And the infamy itself would reset us a little bit. Can we do this without losing the cordial status? I am going to say yes. Am I certain about that? No, I'm not. We are yet cordial? I think we did it. Okay, that was a bit of a gamble because I didn't know the exact math there, but I will take it. And now what else should we do? Maybe release Lombardia? I don't think we're too interested in anything else. We could liberate Hesse, and I mean, I guess why not? I don't really want to transfer them. I don't think there's that big a boon in there. I'm not going to conquer anything else or do any of these silly things. Yeah, let's liberate Hesse, that's not too bad, and we go from there. And yeah, Jesus Christ, just look at these numbers. Since we have much higher tax, since we are much overrepresented, I assigned my troops very late, and they had already assigned all their troops to the border with the Austrian military revolt, we will march straight into Vienna and make it fairly quick when it comes to capitulating them. We also, well, I mean, just have the better troops. Even if we then afterwards face Austria in a different variation, for example, at their full power level, yeah, we're going to have a much more coherent sort of makeup, and that is going to be very important for us. And as you can see, despite everything, despite us being in the perfect position, obviously we still didn't get lucky. This is why I keep telling you that unless you're desperate and you're Bavaria in need, don't do what I'm doing. Do not go about and actually, well, you know, declare wars against rebellion countries. Maybe we still have a shot here? I don't know. Let's try to push and let's see what happens, okay? And oh my god, we actually got it. Johann von Jeze against Janosch Liechtenstein. He's gonna be a hero. We're gonna push into Vienna. But hey, I want to reiterate this. The lesson here is, if you're gonna do this risky play, do it if you are aware of what is going on, but man, it can backfire at any given moment. Now, we don't even have our secret weapon yet, but this was also only for this. We still have to fully declaw Austria. Trust me, that's gonna come. Don't worry about it. But more importantly, we are kicking them out here, and maybe... let's take a look at their loans here. Their loans are at 43. Okay, they're not going to go bankrupt. Keep this in mind as well. If you can't defeat somebody initially, maybe in the next war, after you actually go on and bankrupt them, maybe then you can beat them. It is a valid strategy. And there you have it. It is absolutely beautiful. A lot of people died for this, but isn't this pretty? Now, in the old version of the game, we would now become the South German Federation. In the new version, we can't do that because of this journal entry. It kind of sucks. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? Now, let me just instruct you right now. The smartest move isn't technically going with Council Republic right here. I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna find out how far I can push this, but if you go Council Republic, more people will start disliking you, and that could end very poorly for you. As it stands, though, we are in control of oil. We're still in the Prussian market, and yes, we are quite a bit notorious, but we can get that number down. We have a really good amount of influence coming in here, and that is the most important part. Why am I improving relations with you? There you go. We are now getting a plus 25% infamy decay, and of course, I'm also in a position where I can incorporate these states right here, getting a couple of new friends. We are stronger than ever before. At this point, I would personally argue anyway, we are in an incredibly powerful position and are virtually, I say virtually here very carefully, unstoppable. Because, hey, unless Prussia kicks us out, we're basically good to go. I have become the communist. And it's... and I already now switched. I actually now already switched to gas attack. And now we're gassing the communists in Hanover. And it's Alphonse Göring, come on. Alright, I could try him for his war crimes. But I'm not gonna. And now if that isn't beautiful, then I don't know what to tell you. We did it. And right here we have the moment that we have been waiting for. We have a war between Austria and the Zulu with, well, Russian intervention. And this means Austria will be busy. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have built a whole lot of barracks. You can see it right here. And I think with our methods, with our PMs, we could be beating Austria even on our own. But hey, this is perfect. Now, do keep in mind, the goal here is to completely declaw Austria because they are the only thing that would keep us from actually forming Germany. The point here is that we completely dismantle them by liberating a whole bunch of countries. Hungary, always a great pick because there is so much going on in that country. On top of that, I personally would argue probably Venice is a good pick just because it has sulfur. And then let's go for another coastal area. What about Croatia? Yeah, Slovenia and Croatia, optimally, I would like to actually isolate Austria fully, but be that as it may, Croatia should be enough. And, you know, on top of that, just some war reparations. If we beat them here, Austria is done. I think we can all recognize this, right? Their economy would completely collapse, and with that, we don't really have an opponent anymore because, well, I gotta be honest with you, Prussia isn't an opponent. Forming Germany from here is just a matter of time. Oh, and we're going for the wrong war goal here. This is actually no longer the capital, it's right up here in Bohemia. But yeah, I don't think this is a debate anymore. I think this is essentially over. And there you have it. They are done. It looks awful because it is awful. Well, for them, we are back in the green. We're doing incredibly well, of course, and yeah, Austria is not going to be recovering from this. Oh, and would you look at that? I have just become a unification candidate because Austria had a communist rebellion that won and now put Austria on top. Which just means that they are a major power, which means I no longer need to be a great power to actually become a unification candidate, so I don't even need to leave the Prussian market. That is actually incredibly funny. So the way I am reading this situation is that we're gonna start this play as soon as we finish annexing Hanover, and then we're basically the SGF. Well, and there goes Hanover. You may ask, why did you do that? Well, I obviously did it so that we could, well, make this port a little bit better and actually give us the resources that we need from it. But more importantly, so that we can keep digging for oil. More oil is more oil is more oil. But I don't actually care about any of this. What I care about is pressing this beautiful button. Apparently we have 10 supporters. Appreciate that. Very cool, very legal. Keep it up. Time to become the sole unification candidate. Do you think this is enough yet? Do you think they're gonna back down? We're gonna find out. They are fearful. As fearful, not even as fearful can be. Jesus. What kind of chance are they seeing in this? Aren't they about to go bankrupt anyway? Well, be that as it may, we're gonna win this, and we'll see what we can do after that. It's always a bit finicky to actually form Germany if you're neither Prussia or Austria, so we have to see what we can do. Maybe I can just convince them to vote for me, but that is a pretty big ask. What? Okay, so this is unmodded. I really want to stress this. This is unmodded. Something here... I am not loving... Oh, wait, what? Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Listen, I actually didn't see this coming. That is insane. We're confederating with Austria because they're South German and not a major power. Not a great power, I should say. I don't regret releasing this at all, but I didn't even think that through. So now, for Germany, I will annex myself, and I will become the South German Federation. Absolutely, yes. Bavarian Räterepublik still got the same name. What just happened here is that you annex everybody who isn't a great power, and either South German if you are South German, or North German if you are North German. So yeah, we annexed all of this now. And that makes us significantly cooler, significantly bigger, and hey, I can't complain. Alright, and I think the thing that we're now about to do is we're going to leave the Prussian market. I'm gonna do this, so I was trying to get them positive just so that they would support me here in the actual unification screen, right? You can see it right here. If they support us, I could just click this button, but I don't think they're gonna support us for as long as I am still in their customs union and they are still a great power. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna leave their customs union, then I'm gonna start improving relations again, because, again, I don't actually want to go to war with them. We shall emerge as a great power, and they might drop down, depending on how their econ goes. Our econ, of course, also plummets. I have to create some trade routes here, but I think we can work something out here. See, what I'm not sure about is, if I press this button right here, obviously there's many other things, by the way, that we could be doing. We could be getting rubber, but honestly, who cares? We're in a decent position. Our economy has quite well recovered. Obviously, we could be better, but hey, that's just what happens when you leave a market. If I press this button, do I actually eat infamy? It doesn't mention any infamy here. Why don't we try and find out? No infamy. Wow. Good to know. I was not aware of that. And oh my god, that is so disgusting. Now that I take a look at this, that means that I don't have any infamy yet. I have a whole lot of maneuvers, and I'm facing France. And France, I don't know whether you were aware, but France is in a position where, well, they have no army. They're completely isolated because all they have is Alsace-Lorraine and Franche-Comté. And I can go on to actually demand one of their locations down here. Let me take a look at this, right? Obviously, Alsace-Lorraine we're just going to get. I am looking for Gabon or Congo, because either of these has oil and rubber. And I mean, that's just massive for us. We have one, and what the hell are you doing? Why are you still independent, man? Okay, I hate that, but, and what the, okay, you know, you don't need to understand everything. I don't understand everything most, so, okay. Why are you... You know, yeah, we just gotta ignore a couple of things. Anyway, I have also come to the conclusion that peace with Russia is just not an option. They are agitating us, they are against us, and I think we have to just do something about that with violence. I'm gonna splinter off as much as I can from Prussia. I can already tell you that obviously we're now in an amazing position thanks to, yep, these beautiful, beautiful locations right here. We got rubber, we got oil, we got it all. thanks to the generous donation by the French Republic. All that remains now is forming Germany proper. Alright, and I mean, this now puts us into the last meters here of what has been going on and what is important. I will immediately move on and transfer the subject Hesse-Kassel here. Prussia will never be convinced, and we can't target Prussia with the actual unification war goals, so I will pull them into this war this way, and then, yeah, you guessed it, I assume, we'll liberate as much as I humanly can. I don't want to claim any of these things myself, because if I liberate it, people will still, you know, hey, they will potentially join me in the actual unification of Germany, and that is all we need. Will it make beautiful borders? No. And that's all. That's all I can say, okay? And folks, that is this war. Wasn't that big of a challenge because, well, yep, we are invincible. And now, let's just double check. Oh my god, we are so close. Who's supporting us here? Schleswig? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think it would be in the spirit of this video if I didn't do it through violence. Now, do keep in mind, by the way, if I had claimed these locations from Prussia itself, we would have been massively high in infamy. Now, instead, it costs us literally nothing. Honestly, I didn't even know that there was an animation for that. And that's it, folks. This is not the prettiest Germany, and I'm leaving behind not the prettiest Prussia, but it's a Germany. It's a Germany. We came from nothing, now we're here. Now let's just recapitulate for just 1 second. Be aware of what is going on around you and utilize your tech advantage. Do not be afraid to do it and knock him dead. As long as you're aware of sulfur, of oil, and of rubber, nothing can stop you. So yeah, I will now leave this monstrosity and this awful performance behind. I think I have shown that everything is possible, and Bavaria once again stands supreme. God bless, and I'll see you later. Alligator.